Wait, so what kind of music do you do?
R&B mainly. I like love ballad. Check this out. You're not the only one that I ever loved. I like, I think giving people something that they could understand and something that
they can relate to. Yes.
And I write my own lyrics, which I get. Most of my beat come from my little brother Donnie.
Yeah.
And he sent me beats, and I take the beats and put lyrics to the beat and listen to them and see what they sound like and see what he think about them. So far, we have done, I think, 6 videos. Because I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. We have maybe 4 other lyrics topics that we haven't done videos to yet.
Right.
And I'm also working on 3 more new ones. And I think that I'm my biggest critic.
Absolutely.
Because I feel though no matter how the songs sound, you heard them, that you say they sound awesome.
Right.
But I feel though that
are we on yet?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I feel though that deep down inside, that one that gonna sound a little bit. I like to make each video better than the last one. She said I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. Don't say you are. Say it again.
Right.
That's what I try to create. We try to create.
Right.
You know, to see just how far we could take this. A lot of people probably say it's a dream, but no, we have a vision. See, people get dreams and I get visions confused with one another.
Okay.
A dream is something that people try to remember. A vision is something that I like to achieve.
Absolutely. Your vision is what you create for yourself, and you work on it. You focus on it until you get to the end where you want to be.
Absolutely.
So Bibbo, you are a man of many talents.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Many talents.
Thank you.
And you have a story.
Yes.
So this morning while we were sitting here conversating, the things you were telling me about life and about back in your day, about you coming up, it was just amazing to me.
Right.
You were speaking about when you were 7 years old, you were picking cotton.
Yeah, I used to pick cotton after school. See, after school, let's see, how could I put that? I was born October the 20th, 1946. And some people can't imagine what life was like back in those times.
Right.
A lot of people watch the movie Roots and other movies, but it's a different than watching a movie and living through these things.
And that's what I was talking about, why I was so fascinated with what you were telling me, because personally, me growing up, I was a kid when Roots came on.
Right.
And I was amazed. I was even wondering, was it true?
Oh, it's
so you read it in the books, you see it on the TV, you see movies.
Right.
But to actually speak to someone who's actually lived some of that life, I'd like you to go on and tell us about your experiences growing up.
Well, it was a whole lot of trials and tribulations that we had to endure, to go through. I remember we didn't have no running water, no hot water.
Right.
We didn't have no bathroom. We had a night house. Okay. We had the cotton field was the front yard and the orange grove was the back. We had to walk to school.
Right.
Sometimes we didn't even have shoes to wear to school.
But you went.
But yeah, we went to school. And the neighborhood that we lived in, a little neighborhood in Florida called Plymouth, Florida. It was like maybe, I would say 15, maybe 20 families live in this cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And each parent in that cul-de-sac had the right the permission to beat you if you were doing something
wow.
you wasn't supposed to do.
Right.
That they won't let their child do. Okay, and you felt though that by this person beating you for something you wasn't supposed to do, you figured it was over. No, it's
Right.
not over.
When you get
Mom
home-
hadn't seen you yet.
Yeah.
You know.
When you get home, it's a whole different story.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's rough when you're going to take 2 or 3 beatings and then on top be punished afterward.
Right.
You can't go out for 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay, your thing was after school, you had to work every day after school.
Yeah.
There wasn't no playtime.
Right.
And I was about, I would say, maybe 22, maybe 23 years old before I realized that somebody would lie to me.
Right.
In the neighborhood we were raised in, you don't lie to people. I don't care if it was a child. And if the neighbors heard you tell somebody a lie, you got to ask with it.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't just wop and go ahead. No.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful and the way that my mom raised us.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah.
If it's not yours, don't touch it.
Right.
You know, don't lie to people. Don't steal. Don't do this and don't do that.
Right.
We was raised to, how can I put it? I wouldn't say eat to get full.
Yeah.
Eat to survive.
Exactly.
That's the way
Exactly.
I was raised. I was
Exactly.
raised to eat to survive.
Right.
And coming through life in the early 50s and 60s and seeing some of the things that happened to my race,
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
Okay, the hanging, the burning of the cross, the burning of the house, you got to run for your life. You don't know if you're going to live to see tomorrow, understand? These are the things that they show you in Roots. These are the things that I've lived through.
You lived through.
So I
Even-
thank God
Yeah.
for His presence to bring me through all the trials and the tribulation. that
Yeah,
I
because
came
you're here
through.
now.
Yeah, I'm
You're
here.
here now. But I know it must have had, from the early 50s to now, big difference. Let me step back one moment to when you said you were 7 and you were picking cotton.
Yeah.
Why did you have to pick cotton at that age, and who were you picking cotton with? Also, why?
Okay, this was a way that we could try to help Mom put food on the table.
So
My
what-
father,
what's-
but Dad was not in our lives.
So once the cotton was picked, it was sold.
Yeah, but see,
Okay.
say for instance, you could work all week picking cotton, and you might not even make $50.
Wow.
Yeah, because they paying you for cotton. Cotton is
Yeah.
one of the lightest something that
That's
they are.
right. By weight, it is.
Right,
yeah.
they pay you by
Yeah.
weight.
Yeah.
So how much cotton you figured you got to pick in order to make money to help put food on the table?
Right. So you said your dad wasn't in your life. So it was yourself, your mom. Were there any
Me
other
and my
siblings?
mom, I had 2 brothers and 1 sister. My mom.
So picking cotton was it a chore for all of you siblings?
After school, mostly,
Okay.
all of us would have something to do. It wasn't that we got out of school and went play with the fellas. No. You had a choice to do.
Right.
And this was every day, not just today.
Right.
Understand? And just the
Right.
way that we were raised.
Right.
And to God bless the child that has his own.
That's right. That's right.
So we learn to live by the way that we was raised.
Right.
See, a lot of people have the tendency to, there's a difference in being raised and growing up.
Yeah.
Understand? We didn't just grow up. We were raised with respect.
Of course, regardless of the
know.
situation.
It doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
Understand? And you did not disrespect no adult in that cul-de-sac.
Right.
If you did, then you got to pay the price.
Of course, because you were a child.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so you picked cotton. When you got to what age did you stop picking cotton, and why?
I think I said I stopped picking cotton where I went to school, but it was just something that I always would tell people. I had it all mixed up, but a lot of people went to high school. I went to school high,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
those two didn't
Right.
balance up too good in school.
Right.
So I ended up quitting school, and I said I didn't even graduate. I think I quit school in the 8th grade.
Yeah. And it happens.
Yeah.
Because like my mom's a little older than you, and she told me she quit school when she was 13.
Yeah, because there was more for me to try to do to help the family.
Right.
Understand? Which I knew that at the age of 18, 19, I didn't have no high school education.
Right.
And whatnot.
Right.
So now I got to find different types of skills to learn in order to,
Right.
to survive.
Right. And I guess back in those days too, was there a lot of people willing to teach you skills?
No, it's more like some will and some don't, because a lot of people don't want to see you get ahead because they're so afraid that you will leave them behind.
Right.
So sometimes you just have to learn skills by sight,
Right. Right.
by seeing what other people do.
Right.
I was eager to learn different trades.
Right.
Now people ask me, say, what can you do? No, it's what I can't do.
Right. Now you're a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I could do a whole lot. I have a whole lot of trades, but I have no education.
Right.
But I'm street smart.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah. It's one or the other. You're either book smart or street smart.
I was street smart
Right.
because I had to learn the way of life.
Right. Right.
Okay, learning the books and whatnot is telling me about history and whatnot is certain things I need to learn.
Right.
But when you're out in the street, understand, you're dealing with life.
Of course.
Understand?
Of course.
But if not, there's some part of life that you just have to take time out and say, look, I got to figure out or find out what is best for me.
Right.
Understand?
Right.
Because you cannot please all the people all the time.
Exactly.
So I try not to please none of them none of the time.
Right. Please yourself.
Absolutely.
Please yourself.
Because if I get into just pleasing other people,
Yeah.
how happy am I going to be?
Right. Right. So let me touch on something. Earlier when we were sitting here, I wish the cameras had been rolling earlier. We touched on 40s, 50s, when you had to pick cotton. We also touched on racism.
Yeah.
What it was like back then for people of your generation and earlier dealing with racism.
Oh boy. It's when you have to run and hide and pray that you live to see the next day.
Terrifying.
You lay down with your family and whatnot.
Yeah.
You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what they're gonna do.
Right.
Understand?
Yeah.
They could do things to you and there will be no justification.
No punishment. Right. No punishment.
No. Because it was that racial people that would do that.
Yeah.
And when something happened to them in a matter, they always talking about terrorism.
Right.
They terrorize.
Right, right.
But what do y'all think y'all were doing to us?
Right.
What do y'all call that?
Right.
Playing?
Right.
You're killing us.
Right.
Understand? So
when do you think that kind of direct terrorism, when do you think that eased in your lifetime?
it never did.
Okay.
It don't ease.
Right.
You just live with it and try not to think about it.
Right.
But there are a lot of people ask me, say, you came through this type of lifestyle. Why you don't have anger or some type of against white people?
Right.
Because they wasn't the one that did it to me.
Right.
So if this white man did something to me, why would I want to take it out on this one?
Right. You're probably angry about what has happened in general, but not against any particular person.
No. I would just thank God that He brought us through the situation that we came through.
How did you handle those situations when you had to run and hide?
It was not fun because when you running out in the swamps and whatnot, you still dealing with elements like snakes
And
gators,
alligators.
this and that. You know what I mean? So your life is still in jeopardy. When you're trying to save your life, your life still in jeopardy because you don't know what's out there.
Exactly.
Especially
but
when
you
you're
have no
running out
choice.
at night.
Right. You have no
either
choice.
do it or die.
Right. You're trying to save your life.
Right.
But it's like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire.
True.
I just can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
And like I said to you earlier, I've never, because of course I'm from London, and of course racism, it happens there also. Have I experienced it directly there? No. I haven't. The first time I experienced any kind of racism was just a few years ago.
Right.
But I watch the news and see what goes on in America, and it makes you angry, but it's fascinating as well, because I think when you're not a part of it, you're like, did that really happen? And like I was telling you earlier, I have not met someone directly. You're the first person I've met directly that I can talk to about this. And we've had some healthy conversations about it.
Yeah.
What I want to know, were you at any time put into a situation where you were fleeing to keep yourself safe? Have you ever been attacked or anything like that because of the color of your skin?
I wouldn't say they took it out like on my family, but we would never know what they gonna do or who family they gonna attack.
Right.
But there's always been a fear for your life.
Right.
Understand? Because back in those days, like it was really a struggle.
Right. Right.
And the only thing we could do is pray and ask God to pull us through the situation that we was in, which He did.
Right.
And that's why today I count my blessing because
you made it through.
Yes.
Absolutely, that's definitely a blessing, because I think about some of the leaders that were around in your time: Malcolm X, Martin Luther, Kennedy. There were a lot of people that were fighting for the rights of black people.
Right.
I don't say African American because I'm black. I'm not from America, so I call myself black, not African American. How did you and your family feel about people that were fighting for your rights at that time?
At that time, we didn't know too much about civil rights at that time because we were so interested in trying to live to see another day.
Right.
But
did it make you feel good that someone was trying?
Yes, it does.
Right.
Okay, say for instance, we had a few leaders like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, and other people that
there's a lot
that were willing to sacrifice to help us get freedom.
Right.
Okay, but since Dr. Martin Luther King, I haven't heard no one yet trying to help the blacks for civil rights and whatnot.
Right.
Understand? So who can we go to? Who do we have that we could depend on, or who did we have that we could trust that might be able to help us with this problem?
Right.
It don't seem like we have any black top political leaders anywhere to try to help us justify our civil rights. Understand?
Do you think it gets to a point where we have to try and help ourselves?
I think that's the only way we're gonna get help. If we're gonna get help from the good Lord, we're on our own.
Right.
I like to know who you are. I won't tell nobody, so please don't tell your friend.